Sweet potatoes are one of the most challenging crops to grow for most people. They have a pretty specific climate they like, long, hot summers, and a lot of us don't have that. So in this video, we're gonna grow sweet potatoes out 3 different ways to see if there is a best method that works for any region. This is Kevin reporting from 6 months in the future. This video truly shocked me and grew one of the biggest potatoes I've ever seen. Before I get into the methods though, let's talk about how sweet potatoes grow. Super important to know. So they aren't like potatoes. They're actually not the same species. They're not even in the same family, despite sharing the common name. What I have here are 3 sweet potato slips that we grew out. You can either order sweet potato slips online, which is honestly a great way to do it, or you can DIY by taking a sweet potato, throwing some toothpicks in it, putting it in a jar, roots will come out of the bottom, and these slips will come out of the top. What you'll do is you'll snap those off after about 5-6 inches, put those in a pot, like our 5-inch pot right here. That will root up, then you'll plant that. So it's a little bit of a labor-intensive process, but we've gone through that process for the love of the grow. So what we're gonna do is grow 1 in a container. We're gonna grow 1 standard in the ground like sweet potatoes wanna grow. And then we're gonna grow 1 in the ground, but we're gonna use a modified Ruth Stout method. This is a potato growing method we did that had incredible yields in a recent experiment where we grew potatoes 8 different ways. The Ruth Stout method was by far our highest yielder. And what it is dropping a potato on the ground and just covering it with a couple feet of hay. In this case, we don't have a sweet potato, we have the slip. So we're going to put this in the ground and we're gonna hill it up with hay and see if we get any extra to form. So let's get these guys in the ground. So this is our epic test garden. The soil here is native soil that we've amended with compost over the last couple years, but I'm not gonna put any fancy fertilizer in at all. And I'm just going to turn the 5-inch pot upside down, hit that side. There we go. Look at that, beautiful roots. And we will very gently place it right there and firm it up around. Same thing for this one, because this one, it's the same planting method until you put the hay on top or the straw. Now we've got our container. So this is a 7-gallon container. I would probably go up to 15 or 20 gallons. It's just what I had on hand, but we'll see what kind of yield we get out of this. Now, the one thing I'll say is because you're growing in a container, you have the opportunity to customize your mix. We used a standard sort of potting mix here from a brand that we love, but I added in some extra sand as well as some extra phosphorus because sweet potatoes kind of want that. If it was too kind of loose, friable, maybe like your more standard potting mix, I don't think they would do that well. So what I'm gonna do is just dig some of this out and bury it in. All right, we're in the ground. Let me know what you think. I've got my money on, for some reason, the Ruth Stout sweet potato, but my next pick would be the standard one. And then of course, I think containers will probably get a good yield, but it won't be as big as the ones in ground. Let me know down below and I'll see you in a couple weeks. All right, my friends, we're back at Sweet Potato Alley here. Not a whole lot to report on just yet, because of course we can't see the sweet potatoes down below. This is the one we're going to Ruth Stout or put some straw on. This is our in-ground, which it does look a little bit smaller. I see some pest damage, so maybe that's why, but there shouldn't be that much of a difference here because we really haven't done anything different. So again, backyard gardening science, it could just be some variance. The container one is doing pretty well. We're keeping it well watered. I'm seeing a lot of healthy growth. Of course, we've got some sweet potato flowers coming out, but the only thing I really need to do right now is put some straw on this one. So my goal is going to be kind of getting in here and covering up some of these vines in the core, because unlike doing this with, let's say, potatoes, which we've done in our prior experiments, you can't really just dump it right over the top. There's too much foliage. What I'm gonna do is use our new straw. We have a straw that actually is grown in America. It is certified organic, and it is quite nice. So I've got some of it right here. You can grab some on our store if you want. I'm just gonna kind of pack it around the bottom here, see if we get a big old chunky sweet potato out of this in a couple months. Welcome to the future, my friends. It's been a ride with our sweet potatoes. You can see we have quite the patch here. Looks like 1 big plant, it's actually 3. It's time to harvest, and we're gonna start it off with the bucket. I'm so curious what lies beneath. On the Epic Homesteading channel a couple weeks back, we harvested another sweet potato patch, and we had some absolute honkers. So I'm hoping we find that in the soil here, but again, we're gonna start off with a container. The last time I did container sweet potatoes was actually in whiskey barrels, and we can see we've got quite a bit of growth here. So what I'm gonna do, oh, that's exciting. That's exciting. There's roots coming out of the ground. To me, that's optimistic. Let me know what your vibe is down in the comments, but I think we might be getting something out of this. Oh, there's something on these walls. Okay, look at this. Not bad. Good sign. Another good sign. Oh, wow. Wow, this is actually, whoa. Boom, boom, boom. Oh, there's more. There's more. Here's our bucket. Not a bad haul. If I had to guess, well, I'm not going to. I'm not going to spoil it. Let's now go to the in-ground potatoes without the Ruth Stout mulching method. Okay, so the first thing we have to do is tease out which one's which. I know that the Ruth Stout's on the left side, but these vines are all grown together. So I'm going to trace them back to their origins here. We're just going to do that by pulling these vines until we can find that core area where they came out. See, look, like this one, that belongs over there. That's a crazy difference. This has to have less. Well, let's find out. So this is all the plant matter on our non-mulched. I'm unimpressed. The core is right there. Let's see what we have. Okay, oh. Are you serious? I'm back to being impressed. Guys, drama in the garden. Unfortunately, this giant potato was clearly broken off of this stem right here, which is leading us where? To the Ruth Stout patch. So that one doesn't even count for that pile. Let's put it right over here. And let's start to unearth. Now oh, look what I just found. This is an isopod right here, or as some people call it, a pill bug, but it's got an interesting color morph on it. The front half is kind of like a light gray and the back half is a dark gray. That's pretty cool. All right, I'm the most excited. I'm glad I saved this one for last because this one is truly going to be stunning. Look at this, we're counting it. Long old root there. But where even is the core of this one is the question. Here's the hill. Let's cut away these roots here. It looks like the Ruth Stout method has allowed the plant to vine not only more, but also root some of these vines. So I'm having to cut it away a little bit more vigorously than I would have thought. Okay, before we do the official haul, let's get a little teaser going. Archaeological dig. Look at this. There's no way this isn't going to win. All right, hopefully I don't spear one of these guys, but wow, they all look huge. 3, 2, 1. Oh my God. Are you kidding me? What the hell is this? What the hell is this? Are you serious? Look, look. That's crazy. This one alone has to beat the other ones. Well, I think that was it for Ruth Stout, but you know what? Ruth, I respect you as I always have, and I respect you even more now because we need to weigh this up and see the sweet potato surprise. This is future Kevin here to shame current Kevin that you're watching right now because we just discovered there are roots that developed on some of the vines specifically on the Ruth Stout method. What that means is much like a squash, it will throw a lot more water and potentially even nutrients down to those tubers. So for some reason, we got more rooting on the vines, not next to the core slip where we planted it. I think that had a big impact. Okay, now back to that clown current Kevin. Okay guys, let's figure out what is going on with our massive yields here. Now to be clear, as a humble backyard gardener, I would be very pleased with any of these yields. Remember, way back months ago, we planted 1 sweet potato slip for each of these methods, and we're gonna start off with the classic in-ground sweet potatoes. An impressive yield at 5 pounds and 15.9 ounces, just 0.1 ounce below a pure 6 pounds. And again, that's from 1 slip. If I had this in my backyard garden, I would be eating well and I'd be very happy. And of course I'd have more than one slip. So I could get many dozens of pounds just straight up planting sweet potatoes like anyone else in the world does it. Next up, we have our bucket potatoes, which are these ones right here. Visually looks about the same. The only thing I might note, and this could be an irrigation thing, is that there's a little more cracking on some of these sweet potatoes. And I just think it's probably because that soil was a touch more moist. But a respectable yield here at 6 pounds and 11.1 ounces. So just a little bit under a pound more than our in-ground. But if you're a patio gardener, a balcony gardener, someone who doesn't have a lot of in-ground space, you can get a very respectable yield just using a bucket like this. This is about a 7-gallon bucket, and hilling it slightly as it grows, which you don't even have to do, by the way. We kind of did that more as a mulch. Okay, we're now here at what we've all been waiting for, including myself. How much, first of all, is this potato right here? Well, we tried to weigh it here at the homestead, but the scale errored out on us, believe it or not. This had to be sent back to Paul on our team's home to his personal scale, where he texted me a photo, and this weighed a shocking 9 pounds and 2 ounces. With the 9.2 honker out of the way, how much is the total sum of the Ruth Stout sweet potato pile? It is a staggering 22 pounds and 4.2 ounces. I can't believe it. Out of one sweet potato slip, which is over 4 times bigger in yield than the in-ground pile and just under 4 times bigger than our bucket yield. But why is that the case? My best explanation, especially for sweet potatoes, is these are a long season plant. The longer and more energy they can get, the bigger and more honkingly massive these tubers can become. So I think what happened here is we were able to give the plant enough soil cover that it really could express all of that vine growth. The more vines earlier on in the plant's life, exponentially the more energy the plant can take in to develop either more vines, and then eventually as the season comes to a close here in December of 2025, send that energy down into those tubers. So that's my best theory here. If you have a better one, let me know down in the comments. This is one of the most shocking results we've ever gotten in one of our growing experiments. And let's just say Plant Daddy Kev's been a good boy because Garden Santa gave me a little bit better than a lump of coal this season. We'll see you on the next one. More experiments here. You can buy all of our seeds at botanicalinterest.com or at 5,000 stores around the country. Good luck in the garden and keep on growing.